Datomp Gamer.
200-year-old monk is still alive. I'm a little skeptical on this one. Let's check it out.
Incredible recently looked at some phenomenal powers and fantastic feats performed by Shaolin monks. But is it possible for one to live for 200 years? If the following story is true, it could be the most magnificent achievement achieved by these already impressive individuals. Is it possible for a human being to live to the age of 200? A sensational story a few years back makes the case that not only is it possible, but it may have happened more times than the general public knows. In 2015,
That'd be crazy.
police seized an object wrapped in cattle skins that was headed for the black market. The object turned out to be the mummified remains of a man in a meditative position.
Still has his
A
hair.
2015 article at the Siberian Times reported, an unnamed official said that it was taken from a cave in the Kabsk region by a man who then hid it in his own home in Ulaanbaatar. He had then been planning to sell it on the black market at a very high price, with local media claiming he wanted to take it over the Mongolian border. Police uncovered the plot and quickly arrested a 45-year-old named only as Entor. The
Entor.
discovery became a media sensation, as scientists and religious officials heralded it as a fantastic find. Just what they'd discovered, however, became the question, as experts disagreed on what exactly they had found. Was it the mummified remains of a 200-year-old body, or the seemingly unthinkable, a 200-year-old man in some sort of meditative state?
I've heard of
Famous
this.
Buddhist monk and doctor to the Dalai Lama, Dr. Barry Kurzin, believes that the monk is in Tukdam, which is one of the deepest stages of meditation. I had the privilege to take care of some meditators who were in a Tukdam state. If the
Tukdam.
person is able to remain in this state for more than 3 weeks, which rarely happens, his body gradually shrinks, and in the end, all that remains from the person is his hair, nails, and clothes. Usually in this case, people who live next to the monk see a rainbow that glows in the sky for several days. This means that he has found a rainbow body. This is the highest state close to the state of Buddha. The pursuit of the state of
maybe.
Buddhahood is central to the Buddhist faith. Although this is a very generalized summary, it shows the lengths some followers will go to attain it. Buddhahood is the state of an awakened being who, having found the path of cessation of dukkha, or suffering, as created by
Dukkha.
the attachment to desires
heard of
and
it.
distorted perception and thinking, is in the state of no more learning. According to a report at the Mirror, Ganhujin Purivbhata, who is the founder and professor of the Mongolian Institute of Buddhist Art at the Ulaanbaatar Buddhist University, said, Lama is sitting in the lotus position Vajra. The left hand is open and the right hand symbolizes the preaching sutra. This is a sign that the Lama is not dead, but is in a very deep meditation according to the ancient tradition of Buddhist Lamas. As astonishing as this case may be, it's by no means the only one. And according to one report, there have been 40 similar cases over the last 50 years involving Tibetan monks in this meditative state. This seems to be a highly desired goal for monks in light of the number of ones who have pursued it. The
If
identity
he is
of the
still alive,
200-year-old
I
monk
don't
is
think he can
currently
move again.
unknown, but he may be connected to another mummified monk. In 2015, The Independent's James Rush reported on a connection involving a monk who was born in the 19th century. It has been suggested that the mummified monk was a teacher of the Buryat Buddhist Lama Dashi Dorzo Itigalov, who was born in 1852 and was reported to have died in 1927 while meditating. When his body was examined by Buddhist monks in 1955 and again in 1973, Itigalov apparently remained in the lotus position and his body did not appear to show signs of decay. As
That's
mentioned
weird.
earlier, there have been a number of reported cases of monks entering this intense meditative state. Whether or not you believe it is up to you. In the case of Lama Dashi Dorzo Itigalov, his case was scrutinized by scientists and the public. It is understood the body was reburied in a coffin packed with salt and left until 2002 when it was once again exhumed, 75 years after Itigalov's death. According to a 2002 report in the New York Times, a dozen witnesses were on hand to see that the body had remained preserved. Individuals will have their own opinions on the exact condition of these bodies, but but there's no denying that some bodies have been found in pristinely preserved conditions. The challenge
That's
for skeptics
weird,
and
dude.
scientists is evaluating what caused this mummification, or suspended animation depending on your beliefs. Are these bodies protected from traditional decomposition as the result of a spiritual process, or perhaps a byproduct of certain organic situations?
I think their
In either
spirit
case,
or their
can these
soul
fantastic finds be explained
has probably left
scientifically?
their body at this point.
Although scientists haven't ascertained the state of the 200-year-old man, the case of Lama Dashi Dorsho Itigilov offers a scientific alternative to the idea of a monk entering a meditative state for 200 years.
What if he
Vladislav L.
stood up? He's like,
Kovalchuk, an expert
I'm
at the
fine,
Center
you
for
guess.
Biomedical Technologies, told the paper the preservation of the body may have been due to a defect in a gene in Itigilov's body, which hastened the decomposition of cells after death. He said that while the salt in the coffin may have played a part in slowing decay, other factors may have included the soil and the coffin's condition, adding the possibility of some secret process of embalming could not be ruled out. The monks are by no means the only bodies to have been found in highly preserved states.
They
but
put
the number of
sunglasses
monks
on
with
him.
Similarly well-preserved bodies raises the question whether there is truth to the idea of monks entering a mental state that preserves the body. Far-fetched? Not if you've seen
try
a video
talking
on
to him.
monks with superpowers. As Incredible explained in our previous video on monks who seem to demonstrate special powers and abilities, scientists have documented certain phenomenon, such as the ability to increase body temperature, yet failed to determine how they were accomplished. Achieving a long lifespan may not be as difficult as it has been in the past. Human longevity seems to be at an all-time peak, and while the United Nations estimates the global average lifespan is 72.6 years, that's just the average. Consider that the oldest verified woman is Jean Calment, who reportedly lived 122 years, 164 days, while the oldest verified
Hey,
man
Jean.
is Jerome Kimura, who is believed
What up,
to have
Jerome?
lived 116 years and 54 days. In
That's
light of
insanely
this,
old.
Should 200 years seem impossible knowing the seemingly supernatural feats performed by other monks?
He's like,
While we can't
ah.
verify the exact nature of the 200-year-old monk, science has promises for me and you. Indeed, some scientists argue that it won't be long before the general public enjoy much longer natural lifespans. Granted, there will also be premature deaths due to accidents, foul play, or disease, but the average lifespan could be in for a huge leap. While the thought of lifespans
what's
gradually
happened.
extending is not far-fetched, is it realistic to believe that a person can make it to 200? Some
In the future,
scientists
yeah.
already believe the human lifespan is accelerating at a fantastic rate. A 2017 story from Norway Today examined a scientist's claim that people will soon be living much longer natural lifespans. I think there are those alive today who will live to be 200 years old, said Professor Stuart Kim of Stanford University to NRK News. In his lifetime,
I might live to
the
be to
average life
200.
expectancy has increased by around 2.5 years each decade. Partly, this was due to a fall in infant mortality, but if life expectancy, hypothetically, had grown as fast for the oldest person, we could have glimpsed the world's first 150-year-old in about 90 years. That person will be in their late 50s today. If
I'm
people
only
are on a path
36.
to far longer lives, who's to say that these monks haven't already discovered a path to longevity? Ultimately, the biggest question isn't how these monks have preserved their bodies, but whether they are well-preserved corpses or well-preserved bodies in a meditative state waiting to return to life. If we believe the story that the monks entered the meditative state to attain a higher level of consciousness, then it would seem that they are well-preserved corpses. However, not everyone believes these mummies are dead. In 2016, the UK's Daily Mail reported on the previous mentioned mummified monk Lama Dashi Dorsho Itigilov, who was taken to a museum for safekeeping.
Check his
An
pulse.
ordinary night at the museum
If you
turned
can. It's, like,
extraordinary,
hard.
depending on who you believe, because local religious leaders claim CCTV footage shows the Lama moving on both Sunday and Monday night in what they say might be a call for world peace. Another case may shed some light on this 200-year-old monk as scientists discovered the skeletal remains of a 1,000-year-old monk. In 2019,
Is his heart beating?
the India Times documented a story of a 1,000-year-old Chinese monk who may have mummified himself, similar to the two cases mentioned earlier.
1,000-year-old
Just in case
body.
you're wondering how this monk did this, here's a possibility offered by the Telegraph. The idea behind the self-mummification was to become a living Buddha. Reportedly, the monk did not eat anything for the first 1,000 days except nuts, seeds, and berries to strip the body of fat. For the next 1,000 days, he ate only bark and roots of the urushi tree. That led to
Bark.
vomiting and a rapid fluid loss and acted as a preservative to stop decay after death. After that, for 6 years, the monk was probably locked in a small stone tomb with an air tube and a bell. It is believed that then he meditated in lotus position until he died, which was supposed to be signified when the bell stopped ringing. This series of stories begs the question just how long this self-mummification has been going on. Just how many other mummified bodies are waiting to be discovered? And what will it tell us about the quest for Buddhahood? What secrets might scientists learn about longevity by studying these bodies? Also, what are the spiritual ramifications if a person is indeed able to tap into some sort of power and preserve their physical bodies? Would it be possible to use these techniques to rid the body of disease or heal injuries faster? Mentally, is there some way this might be used to help people with psychological problems by meditation? Many of the extraordinary powers displayed by monks seem to require years of practice and discipline, but if scientists and monks are able to work together, could humanity benefit from them? People love a good mystery, and this case is one for the ages. Whether it's scientists or the general public, there is much to unravel about the 200-year-old man and his amazing associates.
Imagine coming
Sadly,
across a
we may
package
never
and
know
you
who this
open it
man
and
is,
that's
but
in
there's
there.
still much to learn from his incredible story.
He's in there.
Regardless of whether this man is just a well-preserved corpse, a monk who has attained a higher plane of awareness, or a dormant body waiting to be animated, the mystery of the 200-year-old man is likely to have people talking for many years to come, and it may have benefits for society for even longer. Centuries from now, our descendants may enjoy lengthy lifespans and look back to the 200-year-old man as the beginning of a serious shift in improvements to our overall health. Do you think it's possible for someone to live to be 200 years old?
Incredible!
Or is this some sort of hoax?
Incredible! I personally believe that he's not alive still. I mean, I'm sure he went into this meditative state and then probably peacefully passed away. And if they do think he's alive, can't you like x-ray his heart or like do a scan of some kind to see if his heart's still beating or check for a pulse? I don't know if you can check for a pulse. Their skin looks rock hard. It's like, I can't check for a pulse. It's like touching a rock. But yeah, I mean, it just looks like they got so deep into meditation, they peacefully passed away. And they were talking about how some people in the future could get reached to be 200 years old, which I think is very possible because if you go way back in the day, like, you know, Christopher Columbus, Julius Caesar, like way back, I think the oldest people only lived to be like 40 or 50 years old. They died young. And, you know, over time, people got older, and they got older, and they got older, and then people started getting to be 100. Some dudes, the world's oldest person, I think, was like 121, you know, some Asian guy, probably a monk. But yeah, I'm 36 right now. It's very possible that I could live to be 150. Who knows? I don't know. The future is beyond us, literally. Like, you can't grab it and bring the future to you because you're living now. You're always living now. Now. See, that's already in the past. Remember when I was doing now? It's already in the past. It's back there. The future never comes because it's always now. It's funny. There's a sign in a bar. This man walks into a bar and he sees a sign on the wall. It says, "Free beer tomorrow." But guess what? Tomorrow never comes because it's always now. So the next day he went back to the bar expecting free beer. And the guy says, "No, look, it says free beer tomorrow." Because tomorrow never comes. Therefore, he's not getting free beer ever. No. Anyway. If I do live to be 200 years old and the world doesn't collapse or blow up from World War or the supervolcano or an asteroid, if the world is still around, say 400 years from now, and everything's hunky-dory and peaceful, and I live to be 200 years old, Well, I'll keep uploading videos. I could be the world's oldest YouTuber. 200 years old, I'm like, thank you for watching if you did.